Hello, everyone, and welcome in. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these readings, but you know, life happened, and it was a lot of things going on, and I just got that message kind of loud and clear from Spirit that I needed to take a step back and focus all of my energy on me and working through some things. So I've recently been feeling the call from Spirit to come back to this. So I will be getting back into the daily readings as well as the other special readings like the Twin Flame, the Is This Your Person, Pick a Pile. It might be a little bit of a disruption on the individual sign readings since I have some upcoming trips going on. So I'll do something a little bit different there. And then also during my time away, there's a new project that'll be going live probably the end of February. So stay tuned for some more information on that. But as always, listen to your intuition. If you're getting the call from Spirit to just rest and kind of pull all of your energy into you, don't feel bad about doing that. You need to make sure that you're taking care of you and taking care of that inner child. If you're not taking care of your inner child, who will? So let's go ahead and jump in. This is for Tuesday, January 30th. And before we get started, or before we get into the individual sign groupings, we will pull 3 cards for the collective energy and see what wants to come through for today. All right. First one is we have the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. We have the 2 of Wands in reverse. And then we have the Chariot. So looking at this, the Chariot is going to be your fast-moving energy. That's going to be your forward progress. The 2 of Wands in reverse has this element of a little bit of like a kind of, excuse me, like a failure to plan, or like there's this indecision. You're avoiding making some sort of change that is on the horizon. You need to do it. And it's just a little bit of that sense of like stalling, and you don't really know what direction to go. And with the 4 of Pentacles in reverse, it's an energy of generosity and overgiving. But when it comes out with these other two, it's coming across more like you don't know what to do. And so you just keep giving and giving and giving because you don't know what to do. And it's like that sense of, I'm not quite sure what else I should do, so I'm just going to stay here and keep rowing really hard in the boat and see what happens. But the Chariot, with this kind of fast-moving energy, it has that sense of something is on the horizon. Something is going to be changing here soon for you. So let's jump into each of the individual signs and see what that will look like for you. All right, let's start with our air signs. That's going to be our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and see, the Wheel of Fortune. So this is destined and fated. This is something, if you've kind of been putting off making a decision, Spirit is saying, okay, it's time. It's time. This is destined and fated. Let's get things moving. So we will take a look at a couple other cards for you, take a look at some oracle cards and see if we need anything else clarified. And so you probably are getting a sense, if you're watching this, you know what this is about, whether it's about a job that you're afraid to leave, whether it's about a relationship that you don't really know what to do with it. Maybe it's a friendship you're having some troubles, like what do I do, or problems with your kids. So you probably know what that's about. And the universe is saying, okay, you've been stewing on this long enough. And one of the things too, in terms of if there's lessons to be learned, and that's a really important thing, is to pull back and say, what is the lesson in this situation? What is it that I'm supposed to be learning? And the idea with being here incarnated on this planet is you're here to learn lessons, but you're not here to stew in them. This isn't a prison being on this earth. So, learn your lesson, move on, even if it's a tough choice that you have to make, or, you don't really want to make the next step. Failing to make the next step doesn't make that next step go away. So your moon card was confidence is your key to success. New moon in Leo. So actually, we just had our full moon in Leo a couple weeks ago. But part of this is a matter of, once you decide what course you're taking, just do it. There is a tendency sometimes to think and overthink and rethink, and you just kind of keep sitting there like I said, stewing in the same lesson. But confidence is the key. Like, you have to make some decision. Even if it ends up, you realize it was the wrong decision, at least you're doing something, which isn't to say, make decisions carelessly, but this, failure to plan, you're avoiding making decisions and avoiding change. At some point you've got to change. Even if it doesn't work out exactly the way you thought it would, you're going to learn so that you can move forward in a better way. All right. And then we have imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. So some of it is, it's easy when you're kind of stuck in that decision-making model. It's kind of like, oh, well, what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? Yeah, but what if it doesn't go wrong? So use your imagination. Think about what would you want to do? What would that perfect scenario look like? And try to move the pieces in that direction. All right, so I'll pull two. So your jumper was, there's energetic forces working against you. And then this one was, decide where you want to go. So when you're putting these together, these two are kind of going together, this imagination card and decide where you want to go. And that's kind of the first step in making changes in your life, is decide where you want to go. You may not be able to see the exact final destination, but sometimes if it's a decision and you're going back and forth, you may not know exactly where you want to go, but you don't want to stay here. So at least that's making a decision a little bit of where you want to go. Either make the decision what you want to go towards or what you want to go away from. And then this part, there's energetic forces working against you. So, with this Wheel of Fortune, something is destined and fated. And from a timing perspective, you've been sitting here stewing on this lesson because there's something working against you. With those energetic forces. So whether that is another person, if it's a relationship situation, maybe it's another person. Even if it's a job perspective, maybe it's another person at work that you're having issues with, and you just feel like behind the scenes something's going on, something is keeping you from being able to move forward. But there are forces that are working against you, but that doesn't mean throw your hands up in the air and say, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to do anything. So yeah, figure out where it is that you want to go, and then, confidently move forward in that direction. Yes, there's going to be some pushback, and this is what's been causing you that sense of indecision, is because of these forces working against you. But figure out where you want to go, and then start making some headway there. Baby steps towards where it is that you want to go. That was for our air signs. So let's move on to our fire signs. So that's our Aries, Leo, Sag. Let's see what is coming through for you. All right. Oh, that one was the one coming out. The Lovers. So the Lovers card is, it can symbolize actual relationships, or it can symbolize a decision. So that represents a decision. This card is the Twins, which is about communication. So that's that Gemini card. Maybe you're dealing with a Gemini, or somebody that has a lot with communication, but there's a decision that needs to be made, and that is what you've been avoiding. And so you're kind of like over giving in one way to distract yourself from the decision that needs to be made. But that is the energy that's coming through for you for today, is decision. Fast moving, make a decision, and move in that direction. All right, your Moon card is emotions are running high. So this is what's been delaying you getting to where you want to go, and been delaying you making this decision. It's been kind of causing you to maybe not plan as well as you should, because emotions are running high. So when you feel like you're starting to make a decision, then it's like somebody responds, and then you get stuck in your head thinking about it. But this is a decision that you will need to make. So let's see what else is coming through. Blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. So these ones are going really well together. This lack of planning and indecision and kind of the fear of change or avoiding making a change, there's some amount of blame that's going on. And so usually with these cards, it'll have the word and then it has a mantra underneath it that either goes with it or it's how do you combat that. So if you're blaming your failure to move forward or failure to resolve whatever situation it is, it could be a situation where you're caught blaming somebody else. Well, I can't really quit my job because, whatever, because my family needs my money. I can't walk away from this toxic relationship because this person is when I say relationship, because, that's my sister and they really need my support. And if I walk away from them, no one's going to be there for them, and so you might be blaming the reality of your situation on somebody else, some outside forces. And I'm not saying that those things should not be factored in at all, but you need to accept responsibility for your well-being, because that's that whole, North Node moved into Aries in July, and that's about standing in your own truth and being unapologetically you and having that healthy level of selfishness where you're putting yourself first and not always putting everybody else's needs ahead of your own. And then this card is make sure you're sharing your energy intentionally. And this is that whole idea of just because somebody wants to be in your energetic field doesn't mean you have to let them. So that's where boundaries come into play a lot is, you're responsible for your own energy and keeping your own energy high vibe. And just because somebody comes, pounding on your door and wants to barge in and talk to you about whatever, you don't have to answer it. That's the beauty of it. And if somebody calls you on the phone, you don't want to talk to the person, don't talk to them. So, make sure you're being intentional about where you're sharing your energy, because the idea of delaying making decisions is usually because you don't have the energy to make that decision. And it's probably because you've been overgiving. You've been overspending your energy. So with this generosity and overspending, it doesn't necessarily mean money. Pentacles are any sort of resource. So that's going to be your energy, your time, your money. And so you're overgiving to a certain situation or certain parts of your life, but that's draining you of your energy and it's keeping you from making these decisions. So that is your message for today, is keep your energy. Make sure you're being intentional about who you're sharing your energy with, how you're sharing it. Are you keeping enough of it for you so that you can make that decision and so that you can get that relief, that kind of fast moving forward progress. All right, let's move on to our earth signs. So that's our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What does Spirit want you to know for today? The moon. So the moon card is about, it can be either lies, so maybe it's lies you're telling yourself, maybe it's somebody around you is lying to you, but it's also that sense of your subconscious, but it's that what's happening by the dark of night, what is kind of being hidden. So you could be in a situation where you've been avoiding making decisions, or you're kind of fearing change and you're avoiding that change because you don't feel like you have all of the information. And so you just keep giving and giving, hoping that the information is going to be forthcoming. And at some point, the information may or may not ever come. It could be a matter of you feel like you don't have all the information, but that could also be that you're lying to yourself, that you're telling yourself you don't have enough information to make a decision because you don't really want to make a decision. So today is a day to kind of examine that a little bit more. What stories are you telling yourself? All right, and this says, bring love into the situation, new moon in Aquarius. So it could be that whatever the situation, whether it's a work one, a family one, that you're sitting there saying, well, this is the way it should be, because I said so, because you're afraid of something, when a softer approach might be better to resolve it, to be able to see the situation differently. So make sure that you're looking at it through the lens of love. love for yourself. What is best for you? What is the most loving thing you can do with your inner child? And we talk about that sometimes. Who's protecting your inner child? If you're in a situation that's filled with, lies and deceit, in terms of the bring love into the situation, it doesn't necessarily mean shower everybody else in love, but who's looking out for your inner child? Who is loving that person and saying, wait a second, what does that person need to be happy? All right. Love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. So again, love is going to be the key here in terms of resolving that situation, to bring that moving forward. Like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean love, showering everybody else around you in love, because remember, you need to show love to yourself first. And that could be part of it too, so I'll put those purples in there. The lie that you're telling yourself might be that, well, if I just keep trying harder, if I just keep doing this, if I just keep, fill in the blank, then it'll work out. Then I don't have to make this decision. But that could be the lie that you're telling yourself, because the love could be that self-love that's missing. All right. And then make your gratitude journal. So if you don't already do this in your journaling practices, having a gratitude journal is an amazing thing. So rather than seeing all the bad things that go on during the day, at the end of the day, if you're jotting down, I'm grateful for, whatever it is. And it can be something simple. I'm grateful for the delicious cup of coffee I had this morning. I'm grateful for the birds chirping outside. It reprograms your brain. If you do it for long enough, it's going to reprogram your brain to see the good things that are going on, as opposed to always looking for what is the bad that's happening around me. All right. Last but not least, we have our water signs. So that's going to be our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. The Fool. So this is that kind of fresh new start. So it looks like for you, the situation, whatever the situation is that you've kind of been avoiding making the decision on, your new start is coming soon. So look at these greens. So your new start is coming in quick. Let's take a look at our moon card. You and your loved ones are safe. So maybe you've been avoiding making a decision because you're scared. How is this going to impact my loved ones, my family? What is that going to look like if I make whatever decision? And that message is here, that and it says new moon in Cancer, saying that your loved ones will be safe. The card that jumped was forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. And then the pulled card was balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So and actually those two go nicely together, the forgiveness and the balance. So if you're stuck in that mindset of like blaming somebody else or resenting somebody or some situation, that's going to be throwing you out of balance. So when you can forgive and, wish that person the best, wish the situation the best, that will help bring you into inner balance. And then it'll give you a fresh start because you're sitting in a higher vibe place of love. All right. And it says, stop making excuses for them or for it. So if this is about, and it could be job situation of, they're working me too hard because we're understaffed. It could be, it could be a relationship that, the only reason they treated me like that is because they're stressed out or this or that. You need to be able to see it from a balanced perspective. So yes, the forgiveness card is here, but with those oranges, and that also kind of goes with this Fool, but you need to be able to stop making excuses for them and say, the situation is this way. I can change my situation. So also stop making excuses for yourself. And if it's important enough to you or to the other person, changes will be made. But don't get yourself trapped in this cycle of making excuses. And that goes a lot with this attitude, I guess, of overgiving, of saying, oh, well, the only reason that so and so isn't pulling their weight around the house is because, if it's your partner, oh, the only reason my partner's not showing me love and support is because they're really busy at work. Oh, well, but then once work resolves, it's like, oh, but now it's because, they're sick or there's a problem with their family members. And so you kind of get into these habits of just making excuses for people. And the reality is, if it's important enough to them, they'll make time. They'll make the effort. So make sure that you're looking at it through an honest lens of, is the person trying, or is this just a convenient excuse? So I hope today's message has been helpful for you. And as always, feel free to share this with anyone else who you think might be able to benefit from this information. But I'm glad that you joined me again today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.